Introducing the African Diaspora News Channel app, your gateway to stories that's overlooked by the corporate mainstream media.
And we serve as the voice to the Choctaw Black community.
Again, we got Dr. Candace Matthews.
A lot of these documents, looking at.
We are committed to informing and educating through the power of media.
This country is supposed to be about the land of the free for all. It has not been free for Black people, and we are tired.
With our platform, we're helping to end injustice by exposing it.
Join us in standing for excellence in journalism and serving our community. Download the African Diaspora News app today.
So, of course, by now you all have heard a lot about what happened via the debate with that former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris. It was moderated by that of David Muir and Lindsay Davis from ABC. It was at Constitutional Hall in Philadelphia, and they had a little over 90 minutes to answer questions and give closing statements apiece. Now, during that debate, there was a lot of wonky things that were said and made you raise an eyebrow, especially by that of Donald Trump. Now, this is one of the things that he said. I have blurred out, if you will, certain words because they are deemed to be derogatory. So I want to put the word migrant in its place. So check it out.
She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison.
So as you heard there, Donald Trump says, and she, wants to basically allow immigrants that are imprisoned to be able to have surgeries, right, with the transitioning. Okay, so as he was saying that, she was kind of looking at him like, yeah, right, and there was a lot of fact-checking going on, but it seemed like they only fact-checked that of Donald Trump. They did not fact-check her, but if they were on their toes, they would have, I think, gave that a little bit more conversation, because this is actually what she said when she was running to be president in 2020. Check it out.
They were standing in the way of surgery.
For prisoners.
And there was a specific case. And when I learned about the case, I worked behind the scenes to not only make sure that that transgender woman got the services she was deserving. So it wasn't only about that case. I made sure that they changed the policy in the state of California so that every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access to the medical care that they desired and need. And I believe it was not only, I know it was historic in California, but I believe actually it may have been one of the first, if not the first in the country, where I pushed for that policy in a Department of Corrections.
So as you saw there, she pretty much said exactly what he said. But of course, that of what he said went all over the internet as a joke, as if he were talking about aliens from outer space, when in essence he was talking about migrants. Okay, so for people who said, well, how do we know she really said that? What if it's AI? Well, as the ACLU actually sent out questionnaires to presidential candidates in 2019, and they asked them a whole host of questions, and that was actually one of the questions, and this is how it went. As president, will you use your executive authority to ensure that transgender and non-binary people who rely on the state for medical care, including those in prison and immigration detention, will have access to comprehensive treatment associated with gender transition, including all necessary surgical care? If yes, how will you do so? Then she answers, it is important that transgender individuals who rely on the state for care receive the treatment they need, which includes access to treatment associated with gender transition. That's why, as Attorney General, I pushed the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation to provide gender transition surgery to state inmates. I support policies ensuring that federal prisoners and detainees are able to obtain medically necessary care for gender transition, including surgical care. While incarcerated or detained, transition treatment is a medical necessity, and I will direct all federal agencies responsible for providing essential medical care to deliver transition treatment. So where was the lie? He almost, verbatim quoted her in what she said, not once, but twice. Once written and then once out of her own mouth. But see, the problem with propaganda, if you will, and things in the media, social media, and all of that, all you got to do is just keep telling the story, and eventually it will become true. In this case, what I'm speaking of is that Donald Trump was lying. Oh, he's making up stuff. He's talking about aliens from outer space and this, that, and the other, but he was telling the truth. But that got passed off as though he was lying. Now, I understand, because Donald Trump does say some things that is just like cuckoo, cuckoo, right? It's like, man, what are you talking about? So I understand how that is easy to believe that he was lying, but he wasn't lying. So I'm here to tell y'all, sometimes we got to get out of our emotions and stop allowing everybody else to tell us what to think. But I know there's been a lot of accusations that ABC was in the fix for Kamala. There is no evidence of that. If you ask me in my unprofessional opinion, as I was watching it earlier on in the debate, I was like, yeah, it appears that it is, because they weren't doing any fact checking of her at all. And as I said, I think they should have gave that portion a little bit more conversation, because without it being unchecked, yeah, it sounds like Donald Trump was kind of, off in outer space himself. But at the end of the day, he was telling the truth. So I just wanted y'all to know that, so y'all can have a little bit more information other than the memes that you have seen on the internet. So anyway, for more insightful commentary, please subscribe to this channel and my channel, The Demetra Kaye Show, here on YouTube.